Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan here again today on this Astrology, Human Design and Gene Keys channel with you today. And today I just wanted to give you guys an update on the series that we are doing on the tropical and sidereal human design body graphs and kind of experimenting with that together using our own personal life experiences. So yes, first of all, thank you very much to everybody who has got in touch with me on Instagram or have joined our Discord server and are sending me their birth information to get their sidereal human design body graph. It's been very interesting for me as well on this journey just to see how the two different body graphs are turning out for a lot of you guys. And I know that a lot of you guys are really contemplating, having fun, learning together. So that's really exciting for me too. Okay, so basically, I wanted to give you guys an update on this series in this video because I recently just got for myself another human design body graph. So basically there's 3 of them now. There's a tropical human design body graph, there's the sidereal human design body graph that is based mainly on the Aya Namsa, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, Aya Namsa system. And then there is the true sidereal human design body graph that is very new altogether. It includes the 13 zodiac sign of Fucus in there. So in tropical human design body graph, I am in human design you would call it a projector type, 1-3 projector cross of explanation. In the sidereal human design body graph that I talked to you guys a few weeks ago, I am a type that is called an emotional manifester. On the cross of limitation, I'm emotionally manifesting from the 1222 in that body graph. And in the true sidereal human design body graph, which I just recently got, the type that I am is a manifesting generator, generating from the 2043 channel on the cross of penetration. And I apologize for the construction noises, which seems to never end. So of course, after getting all 3 charts, I felt quite excited because I wanted to know which part of my multidimensional layered being would each of these particular body graphs resonate with. Which aspect of myself would each of them resonate with? I'm open to looking at all 3, obviously. I mean, after contemplating for a little bit and kind of at some point just kind of like, giving up and having absolutely no answers at all, I have an idea about one way of looking at it that I really want to share with you guys because I'm super excited about it. And this is not the only way to look at it. This is not even the correct or incorrect way to look at it. This is just from what I feel intuitively and from like this deeper knowing that's coming from me as a person. So it's not the ultimate truth of looking at things. So I want to talk to you guys about the particular approach that I have for how to combine the 3 body graphs together. And I felt called to look at all 3 body graphs together in the first place because of the idea of the Trinity. And, at first when I saw that there was 2, right, the tropical and the sidereal, it felt to me like the masculine and feminine principles, which also makes sense. But then now that there's a possibility of having 3, it clicked to me the idea of the Trinity. And Richard Rudd, the creator of the Gene Keys, he talks about the Trinity a lot. And I began getting into that a little bit. The idea of the 3. And even in, ancient Chinese texts, for example, like the Tao Te Ching, which I've been reading a lot recently. I'm going to read you a particular quote from that ancient Chinese text. It says in one of the chapters there, the Tao gave birth to 1. 1 gave birth to 2. 2 gave birth to 3. All 3 begat the 10,000 things. So 3 is the beginning of various different things that we have on earth and in the world. So there's something there about the idea of the Trinity, first of all. So why would there be a Trinity and not more than that? Because tropical, sidereal, true sidereal, they are 3 different ways of, shall we say, associating human behavior, human soul, to the cosmos. They have a different method. 3 of them. They're different methods of plotting the stars, shall we say, as seen from the perspective, from the point of the Earth. And in order to fully understand this, I am going to go into a little bit how the three systems are plotting the stars, and how they relate that to our body by looking at the astrology of how that's created, because human design is created from astrology. So if you want to skip this part, that's up to you. There's going to be a lot of information here, but I feel that if you do listen to it, you're going to get kind of a solid foundation to the rest of this video. The tropical human design or tropical astrology is created from what is considered a tropical year. Tropical astrology, okay guys, I'm just going to make this very clear for you guys, has nothing to do with the actual position of the constellations in the sky. It has nothing to do with that. It is coming from the perspective of the fact that we have seasons in 1 year. We have 4 seasons and we have 12 months in the calendar. The Babylonians created this and they have a 12-month calendar. And with regards to these particular 12 months and the way the seasons change, what about human behavior or the behavior of animals and plants and other organisms can be observed to move or to grow in correspondence with the seasons? This is tropical astrology, tropical human design. It's based on this tropical astrology. The tropical year is the time that the sun takes to return to the same position in the cycle of seasons as seen from Earth. That's what they would written about it. If you were born, let's say, at the vernal equinox, 0 degrees of Aries, it does not matter where, which constellation the sun is in the sky, it will be in Aries always. It's fixed in that sense, okay? When we take the tropical and we look at the tropical human design, because human design takes astrology and connects it with the I Ching. So therefore, different astrological signs are going to be connected to various different I Ching hexagrams, as we can see right here, and the Earth is right in the middle, as we can see. That's the tropical. The sidereal, okay, which is the Vedic sidereal, the Indian sidereal, which is based on different ayanamsa. And I think the most common ayanamsa is the Lahiri ayanamsa and the Fagan-Bradley one, which is a little bit more of Western sidereal, and the one that I've given you guys is the Fagan-Bradley one. And the Fagan-Bradley shifts a little bit from, in terms of the positions of the planets, they shift a little bit from the Lahiri ayanamsa. Now, if you have a pro member on Genetic Matrix and you plot the two of them, there will be a slight shift, okay, in the line with regards to like the gates and which line that gate is. So for example, if you have your sun in 20.5 in one system, in the other one you may have your sun at like 20.6. So it's going to shift very slightly. And the way I want to approach this is that the sidereal, not true sidereal, the sidereal with the 12 zodiac is one system. It has one way, one similar way, calendar, time scale of looking at how to plot the planets in your body graph. And if your body graph is shifting between different sidereal systems, ayanamsas, choose one that you feel resonates with you and stick with that. It's like when you look at tropical astrology and there are various different house systems, it's like you should look at all of them, but then stick with one of them and don't jump around. It's the same with the sidereal. Pick one in the sidereal system altogether, okay? So that's the sidereal. And the sidereal is a calculation that is based, it's a timekeeping system. It starts with that, and it is based on where it plots the planets with regards to where it is in the constellations in the sky, based on a 12 calendar system as well. So it divides the constellations that are actually in the sky into 12 equal parts, but it is plotting where, in terms of spatial location, which constellation the planets are actually in. So there's a linkage to the actual constellations in the sky with sidereal, in which tropical astrology has nothing to do with that. Okay, now in the past, astrology has been around for 2,000 years. In the past, they were somewhat coming from the same source, but they've evolved over time into two different systems. And that's just the way astrology is. And therefore, and I've made this another chart here to show that the sidereal is more kind of, I'm going to use an easy word for this, like out there. It's more about the actual position of the planets in the sky, so we can see at the hexagrams how it is linked to each constellation in the sky in that sense of sidereal astrology and human design. So if, for example, okay, let's say you were born when the sun was at 25, let's say that's the 0 degrees Aries vernal equinox. That's probably because you're born, the date is somewhere around the 21st of March, shall we say. It will always be there because that's the season of Aries. That's how the human behavior has been observed to have these qualities with regards to this coming early spring, which is Aries. But in sidereal, where the sun is actually positioned with regards to the way that the sidereal system has plotted the sky with regards to the 12 zodiac degrees, it's going to probably be in hexagram 37. That's going to be Gene Key or Human Design Kit 37. Okay, it could also be late 55. It depends on the degrees or which line you are in the 25 in the first place. But that's how it works there because the sun is there. Okay, based on the sidereal system. Let's talk about the true sidereal. So the true sidereal is based on a 13-month calendar. And I feel it has a little bit of this maybe overlapping with like Mayan astrology as well, because Mayan astrology is based on a 13 calendar system. So true sidereal human design is based on 13 zodiacs. And they've of course included the 13 zodiac of Ophiuchus in there. And true sidereal has a way of measuring the different constellations with regards to its actual size in the sky. So some constellations are going to be bigger than the other. So therefore, when you plot a rounded, true sidereal chart, you will see that the spatial occupation, the amount of space that the true sidereal occupies, each zodiac occupies, is going to be different. Some of them are going to be more than 30 degrees. Some of them are going to be like only occupying 15 degrees in the wheel. So then, therefore, in the true sidereal, if you look at this diagram that I have here, we can see the zodiac that are along the ecliptic. This is the zodiac that we use in astrology, and then it becomes human design. We can see that Ophiuchus occupies a space somewhere between Scorpius, which is Scorpio, and Sagittarius. So what's actually happening here is that Ophiuchus has always been there, but it has been like a part of Scorpio, shall we say. So there's different ways of looking at Ophiuchus. You can see Ophiuchus as being different from Scorpio and then adding it as a 13th sign, or you can see Ophiuchus as being a part of the enlightenment of Scorpio energy. Because Ophiuchus does have that wiser, wisdom-related type of an energy to it if you read up on Ophiuchus. And so, therefore, the foundation, shall we say, of reading the true sidereal, because it has that element of that spark of Ophiuchus in there, it has this more higher consciousness theme to it, okay? And there's going to be a whole different philosophy of how you can read a true sidereal bodygraph and a humanist and astrology. This is what I feel. But as I plot out the true sidereal here, of course, that's going to change. So let's say you were born on that vernal equinox of 25 hexagrams, 0 degrees of Aries. You see in sidereal, you will be 37, let's say, but in true sidereal, you could be in the 55. If I'm plotting this correctly, this is I hope it's accurate, but this is the main idea here. And you can see that in true sidereal, the zodiac has a different span of space that it occupies. And Scorpio and Ophiuchus occupies the smallest spaces. So that's why, you can interpret them as one zodiac. That's okay. Then there would be like Scorpio, but you would have more Scorpio as the underlying interpretation there. but you can also interpret them as being different. And then a fucus on its own is the enlightened part of Scorpio, but it can have its own constellation there because it is its own constellation in astronomy. But it's of course up to how a person, what philosophies they're approaching readings of human design and readings of astrology based on. That will determine whether they're going to include a fucus in the reading or not. Okay, I hope that's making sense, guys. And of course, human design is based on the idea that, or the study of neutrinos and how they pass through the planets and are imprinted within our body at the time of when we're in our mother's womb, and how it became a part of our body, and how neutrinos carry the energy of whatever they pass through. And I've made a video to explain this in a little bit more detail. I'll provide a link to that up above in the description box below, where I talk about neutrinos and human design. And neutrinos have been around in space since the Big Bang. They're there everywhere in space. So this is the theory. That's why, this is how it's becoming to be what it is in human design. So the question is, however, that I have here is, that is one aspect or one way of looking at neutrinos, and it makes sense that as the neutrinos pass through the planets, and the planets are in particular constellations in the sky, how they're being impacted in such ways, and that would impact us in the body. But the other question I have here, and I don't know the answer to this, is that what happened to us before we came into the womb? The idea that we do have a soul, for example, that soul, when we die, where does that go? Is that also still continuously being impacted by neutrinos as well? Because that could make a lot of sense as with regards to the different bodies that we're carrying through different lifetimes, that through incarnations that we are having right now. So is that's something that's also, like, I feel quite exciting to just ponder on a little bit. What I feel between these three systems is that with regards to like what I'm saying to you guys with regards to like this particular way of looking at the ways of plotting the system, we can say that the tropical astrology or tropical human design has more of this linkage to the material things in this world and our actual physical body, the most physical, densest part of a physical body, and how that navigates the world around us. And maybe even a bit of our psychology can be intertwined with that a little bit as well. If we look at sidereal, because sidereal is based on different nakshatras have different gods and goddesses. The main difference I feel in the philosophy behind sidereal and tropical is that sidereal has a devotional theme to it, because different nakshatras, which corresponds to different zodiac, they have a different god or goddess that you can devote to, and you can kind of have certain rituals, prayers towards. That is not to say it is good or bad. It has a more devotional theme in general to it. And when we look at something that is devotional in terms of gods and goddesses, we think of something along the lines of like universal love, unconditional love, that kind of a theme. Okay, so that's the difference in the sidereal there. Now, of course, when we look at 13 zodiac with the true sidereal, like we talked about with a fucus coming in there, it does have this underlying philosophy, I feel, of something more transcendental, more consciousness and awareness there, and higher awareness, shall we say. But that is not to say, I feel, that one exists without the other. Because if we want to really look at transcending, getting to a place of transcendence, we have to go through. Transcending means to go through. Transcending doesn't mean to escape. So this is what I intuitively feel, is that we can't escape our tropical human design bodygraph, our tropical astrology, or even our sidereal human design, our sidereal astrology. We have to work with that. We have to embody that. And then we can get to our true sidereal. And then we can transcend all three altogether. And that's why the more I look into this Trinity, the more exciting it gets. And now I want to introduce you guys to the 7 sacred bodies and how I feel that each of these systems resonates to the 7 sacred bodies. And Richard Rudd himself talks a lot about this in his studies of the gene keys. And as we go through the 7 sacred bodies, I hope that it kind of maybe make sense to you guys with regards to a deeper understanding of how we can use the three systems together in human design specifically. This is specifically for human design now. And so there's 3 possible human design chart generators, right? But there's 7 sacred bodies, because 3 sacred body, this is something that we may already know of. That's the physical body, the emotional body, and the mental body. Each of these 3, okay, has a higher octave. So there's 3, and then each of them has a higher octave, higher energy frequency. And then the 7th body transcends all bodies. So that's nothing. That's none of the bodies that we're seeing. That's none of the human design body graphs that we're talking about. That's the you. That's the real you. Because you guys have to remember that human design, astrology, these systems, there are languages, they are visual images, they are numbers that we human beings have to use to process things in this material time and space dimension. It's a language. It's like French or Korean or Spanish. They tell you a different part of yourself and who you are, but they can never tell you the totality of who you are. Because what you are is beyond words, beyond numbers, beyond visuals and images. These visuals, images, and words, they are here in this material plane to help us process, to help us understand. It's a tool. Language is a tool. We are beyond the tools. We are beyond the languages. We are something. We just are altogether. And that's the 7th body, is just transcending all of the other bodies. So, okay, so I'm going to go into the different bodies then. So when we look at the first body, the first densest layer of the body, that's the physical body. And I've made some diagrams for you guys to help you guys see this a little bit clearer. The Trinity starts with the physical body. That's associated with your physical health, your energetic pathways. It's kind of like doctors, you know, in our current day and age, when doctors treat your body, they really are reliant on what is going on in the physical body. It can also incorporate your chi, your prana, and the meridians, which are like energy points in your body, like when you go to an acupuncturist and they put a needle into the different energy points in your body and they activate that, they get your energy to flow. That's the physical body. Massage can heal your physical body. Physical illnesses can happen in the physical body because of blocked energy pathways. And so that's why we always want to do some kind of movement exercises, embodiment work, massage, acupuncture, exercise to get our energy moving so that we don't have certain illnesses. And with regards to the planets, I feel that the physical body has something to do with Mars, the planet Mars, okay? And this is a really interesting thing, and I'll talk a little bit about the higher octave of that. And I feel that in the Gene Keys whole genetic profile, this may be like your SQ, if you know a little bit about the different spheres of the Gene Keys. Because the SQ, the EQ, and the IQ, they are the Trinity of your body. The SQ is the physical part of it, okay? So therefore, that's why I think that the physical body has a lot of association with the tropical astrology and the tropical human design. Maybe not so much the astrology of it, but definitely the tropical human design. That's associated, I feel, a lot with the physical body. Okay? Okay, and so when we look at the next body, we have the astral or the mental body. The emotional body, the astral or the emotional body. And in this video, I'm going to call it the astral body. This is about your emotional body. It's about emotion and desire. And when we look at desires, a lot of our desires come from parts of us that cannot be expressed. And so it has something to do with the shadow part of us as well. The astral body is developed around when we're around 8 to 14 years old. That's when our emotional patterns begin to set in. The astral body determines whether you're going to be a victim of your emotions or are you going to have emotional maturity. Emotions have a direct effect on our vitality and physical health as well. Because it can drain us, right? If we are feeling like we have a lot of emotions and we have to keep doing something about those emotions, we're draining our energy from being able to do something physically, okay? The astral body also has to do with the shadow consciousness field. And so therefore, dreams, nightmares, and the astral realm, that has to do with the astral body. So when we think of entities and drawing positive or negative entities into our life, we think about the astral body. And if you're in the shadow consciousness field, or you're operating as a victim of your emotions, you may access, the entities that are not going to be the best for you, but you can draw positive entities into your dreams and your consciousness, in the shadow fields of your consciousness, if you are tapped into emotional maturity. The astral body has a lot to do with relating, how we relate to other people and our reactions. And because the way that also, the astral body dictates how we feel in the physical body. Because if we feel bad in our emotions, it will show up in a tense body. It can also cause the energies and the chi, the pranas to be blocked. So there's a linkage between the astral to the physical body as well. The astral body, Richard Rudd says, he describes this really nicely. He says that it's how we tune the sweetest tunes around us, or the saddest tunes around us in our environment. And we have to keep in mind that our shadow self, when we work with the shadow, we can turn the shadows into a friend, into our greatest genius. So there's something there. And yeah, I feel like even when we look at our society nowadays, right, the emotions, they are, considered as something dark and even bad. And that's why the emotional body, the astral body, gets repressed and stuffed into our unconscious and becomes our shadows. And therefore, there's a lot to work with there with our astral body, I feel. Yes, and so therefore, I feel that the astral body has an association with the sidereal human design body graph, okay? And as I'm saying this, you guys are open to, giving your input, and if you feel that one body is linked to another type of human design body graph, just comment below, let me know. But this is what I feel because of the fact that the astral body and the astral realm has access to entities and even deities if you're working with it correctly, which is how the sidereal astrology is used. Like I said, it has that devotional theme to it. And love is an emotion and a feeling. When you love the spirit, when you devote yourself to a spirit, it's coming from a place of love. Okay, and I would associate the astral body with the planet, the moon, of course, and Venus. Because the moon is so subconscious, the Venus is about emotions and love. And now, in the spheres of the gene key, the astral body would be linked to your EQ, your emotional quotient. So the third body is the mental body. And the mental body is, of course, your mental energy. Now, this is not the mind. The mental body is amazing in what it can do. It is not like the mind. And, when human design says, don't use your mind to make decisions, the mental body exists all around your body, okay? It includes your neural pathways. It can open you up to high mental paradigms. So the mental body develops when you're around 14 to 21 years old. That's when you are a teenager and your mind is open to being developed in whichever way that it needs to be developed. Limiting paradigms can also be seen at the lower frequency of this. Mental paradigms can lead to stuck emotions. So the mental body is going to link to the astral body, which is linked to the physical body as well. Or this body can also be associated with words of wisdom, reprogramming the body through the words of wisdom. Because if we really think about it, if you want to, for example, let's say, work with your emotions, right? If you want to, let's say, purge your emotions, or you decide to decondition from your shadow, you want to do shadow work, let's say. You want to work with the astral body, you want to do shadow work. Where does that start? That starts with your mind saying, I'm aware enough, I make a decision now that I'm going to do shadow work. And of course, that's not the mind that human design talks about. This is a neural pathway, a knowing in the body that says, I'm deciding to do shadow work, and then you work on your astral body, and then it heals the physical body. So that's kind of beautiful, I think, there. But the mental body in the lower consciousness can be used to also repress the astral body, repress your emotions, which is not good. But the mental body has an ability to see the interconnectedness between everything and not just see its threats, because in the shadow frequency of it, it can also see a lot of threats, and it can lead to judgments and opinions, and not open to other ways and other dimensions of being. That can happen because of the fear of not surviving. But the best way to use this mental body is mental openness, having insights and breakthroughs. That happens in the mental body. And clarity actually happens when thinking ceases altogether. Even when you're not thinking, your mental body is still there. It's still doing its thing, but you don't have to think. That kind of made sense? That's when you have clarity. Mental clarity can be seen with the mental body. When the mental body ceases to think, you have the mental clarity. And so I would associate the mental body with the planet Mercury and Jupiter, if we were looking at it from that perspective, and associated with your IQ in the Gene Keys hologenetic profile. Oh yes, and so the mental body would therefore, I feel, be more associated with the true sidereal human design, as we talked about how that has a theme of that transcendental theme to it, okay? Higher consciousness types of themes that can happen there with the mental body. So now what happens? We have the three bodies. Let's look at the higher octave of these three bodies. The higher octave of the physical body is called the causal body. Yes, the causal body helps you to understand or has this theme around it of the mysteries of death. And so therefore I would really associate the causal body with the planet Pluto in the sky. It's your soul. They call it your soul because it survives death, whatever death means to you, to help you continue to retain the soul. It has this, like, I feel, link to the judgment card in the tarot, where it's like the final judgment, because what's going to happen next to your soul after you die? There's a theme surrounding the causal body. The causal body represents pure archetypes. Archetypal memories of your past lives can be seen here. It has to do with reincarnations, the cycles of death and rebirth. It also shows us how we get attracted to some particular, should we say, soulmates or soul fractals. It's because we have these memories of having met them in a past life, and therefore we are attracted to them again in this life because we have something to do with them. The causal body stores also the collected goodwill of all your lives. So at the end of your life, what's the best thing about you? What's left that's the best thing about you? It's stored in your causal body or your soul. After death, only the refined and purest part of your soul is retained in the causal body. So therefore, the causal body can be considered as a point or a bridge between higher consciousness and the lower three bodies. The causal body is responsible for where epiphanies come from. That knowing that you get from a divine source that you don't know where it's coming from, that's coming from you understand the causal body, having access to some kind of memory that you may not really consciously be aware of, but it's just like you just know that you know something, you don't know how you know it. That's located in the causal body. So yes, so that I feel that could be the higher octave of the tropical human design body graph, the physical body, the causal body there. And then after that, we have the Buddhic body. The Buddhic body is the higher octave of the astral or the emotional body. The Buddhic body has to do with devotion and ecstasy. So we see how we turn our shadows, our emotions that we have there into love. Love for something higher than ourselves. This is very Neptunian. I would associate it with the planet Neptune. It includes our ability to have all-encompassing love, to be able to forgive ourselves and others. The Buddhic body has the idea behind it is that we were all whole, united in timelessness, in a time and a space where there was no time or no space. And that is our sense of God and goddess. Like we were our goddess before we came to this physical body. But when we came to this physical body, we have to go through the pain, the suffering of humanity. And the way that we transmute and transcend those pain and suffering brings us back to that state of wholeness, of our gods and goddesses, of being our own divinity that we were before we came to this physical body. The Buddhic body is a conglomeration of divine higher consciousness. That's what Richard Rudd would say. We once lived there before coming to Earth, and we can go back there. The Buddhic body can only be fully opened once the heart is fully open to the mystical experiences and to the revelations that we're allowing into our life. And so access to the astral body, which is your sidereal human design body graph, to get to the Buddhic body, if you are not open to anything more mystical or devotional or something of the unknown, shall we say, that it will be harder to access that body, okay? The causal body must first dissolve, so, including the causal, the physical, the astral, the mental, must all be dissolved before we can reach or transcend it, and to dissolve before we reach the Buddhic body. When you reach the Buddhic body, no more reincarnation is possible. This is the state of nirvana that we have here. It makes me think of like the archetype of Pluto in the 12th house, where it's considered to be your last reincarnation as well. Okay, so yes, I would associate this body, the Buddhic and the astral body, definitely with the sidereal human design body graph. Okay, next we have the Atmic body. The Atmic body is the higher octave of the mental body. So I would associate the Atmic body with the planet Uranus, because Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, okay? The Atmic body is considered to be your true higher self. It is when independent thinking ceases and it's replaced by pure light. You have no more independent thinking. You have only the cosmic mind. The cosmic mind, the impulse of the cosmic mind is only to love. So therefore, all of your thoughts are thoughts of love. All of your thoughts are united and whole with everyone else, and it only has the purpose of love. The Atmic body embodies the cosmic body, and the mind here becomes a universal mind. The universe is actually one thought, limitless, beyond thoughts. It is the no mind altogether. The mind of the universe is the no mind. When you reach the state of your Atmic body, you realize that behind every thought is there's a hidden light behind it. The Atmic body is the highest possible ascension of your body. You have to be able to disconnect, so transcend, so go through all the three lower bodies and disconnect from that. Not jumping, not escaping, that's spiritual bypass. This is what I feel here, but being able to feel all these different vibrations of your body to get to this, and then it dissolves all together. So therefore, I would associate the Atmic body with the true sidereal 13 sign human design body graph, due to the various different reasons that I talked about in this video. And of course, just to reiterate, this is just me playing around with concepts and theories. This is not the one true answer, but I don't know, I feel something in my body that says, there's something here. There's something here that feels so right. I don't know what it is, but it feels right, and maybe it gets somewhere for you guys. Maybe it gives you guys something to feel in this moment, and to light something up for you guys in this moment. I don't know. And then of course the last body, the seventh sacred body, is the Monadic body. The Monadic body is not a body. It's the point of the origin. It's what we call involution. So if you guys have heard of the idea of involution, evolution are cycles. We come from the one source. That source descends into the physical body through a process of involution. And that one source, comes into this body, and then we play with the roles that we have here on earth with our human experience. And we experience pain and loss and heartbreak and all those human emotions, and we begin to evolve from that we grow and we evolve, and ultimately through a process of evolution we spiral back up to the one and only source, and that's the monadic body. So it's a culmination of human evolution. It's all the layers before this have to be transcended and dissolved before we can get to the monadic body. When you get to the monadic body, you become truly ordinary, but you are extraordinarily ordinary, kind of like the Buddha, who went on his journey, and eventually after enlightenment he comes back to the marketplace from the mountains, just like an ordinary person. So it's a very mysterious place to be. We are ultimately very mysterious beings. We have a beautiful journey and experience here of different bodies, but ultimately we are more mysterious than we may think that we are. And if you guys feel that you want to know what your true sidereal human design body graph is, because that's very hard to find, there's a system that's currently being developed into how to create that. There's a Facebook group, okay? It's called Cosmic Human Design. You can join that Facebook group, and there's a list which you can write your name on that list, and they will get to you and give you your human design body graph. So you can try that and see how that goes for you. Yes, so I want to show you guys something very interesting that I kind of made, that I feel like, wow, like this represents the 3 different bodies of me. I mean, I don't really feel like I've experienced the Buddhic body or the Atmic body, but I definitely played around and felt with my physical body, my astral body definitely, and my mental body definitely. And maybe even sometimes feeling into the causal body a little bit from time to time as well. I do get a lot of epiphanies. Gene Key 43 is my part of my incarnation cross in tropical human design. But I looked at the I Ching, like the elements in the I Ching, the trigrams associated with each particular gene key and human design gate, because I found that helps to give me a clearer picture of how my different bodies operate. I'm going to show you guys right now. So in my physical body, I'm leading with my sun in gate 23. That's mountain over earth, okay? And that's about stillness over receptivity. And so I feel like that's my physical body, guys. My physical body is very still. I've been to an acupuncturist who was kind of like, your chi is not moving. I have to put certain needles into the kind of like this very one of the most active chi points in the body, and I think it's in the foot, to really move your chi. And she was like trying to use fire. There's another technique, I don't know what it's called, but a needle with fire over my stomach, because she says that like I'm really stuck in there with my physical body. It's just not moving. My energy is just not running. And yes, I can see that having mountain over earth there, that my physical body is very still, but it can receive a lot to help it move, definitely. That was just something interesting there. And when I looked at my astral body, I'm leading with my sun in Gene Key and Human Design Gate 42. That's Aries, right? That's wind over thunder. And wind over thunder is a storm. It's a thunderstorm in what they would write in the Gene Keys. It says, Gene Key 42, storm brings destruction and nourishment, life and death serving the highest growth. Yeah, I will say that my astral emotional body is like a thunderstorm. It kind of builds up like that. Like, although you may not see it on the surface, but I'm a very emotional person, and there's something to be said about having storm as a part of my emotions. I can get heated up pretty quickly, like that storm, but it passes away pretty quickly as well. It's not like a rain shower where it's like the whole day could just rain, right? But thunderstorm's gonna happen for less than an hour and then it's gone. That's my emotional body, my astral body. And then we have my mental body, which I'm leading with the 51. That's true sidereal, right? Human design gene, you get 51. That's also Aries. And that's thunder over thunder. That's pure thunder. That is about excitement, arousing, revolution. And so that's my mental body. That's my nervous system. I have a nervous system that's very easily excitable. If you guys know me a little bit, like being on stage in front of people, or just kind of like doing something live is very nerve-wracking for me. Like, I think I did one live video on this YouTube channel, and that was a live video for our group meditation. So it's like, if I'm gonna meditate live, I can do that because then I'm not so nervous. But anything else going live, it's like my nervous energy is, I'm like a walking panic button when it comes to my neural pathways. And so I was like, okay, that's definitely my mental body leading with that particular gate. And so there's something very interesting that's going on there. If you guys want to try this little exercise out, maybe you can also try it out. And yeah, but of course you're gonna have to get your true sidereal human design first. But anyways, yeah guys, I think that's gonna be very close to the end of this video. So as I proceed with the series of sidereal and tropical, I'm going to have to include the third one in there just because of the idea of the Trinity and how it all just kind of lines up and makes sense to me now. So I will be including the tropical, the sidereal, and the true sidereal human design body graphs as I go through this series. And if you guys want to follow along, you don't have to use all three. I feel like this can be a lot of information for a lot of people, and I apologize if it's like a lot out there, but I have thunder over thunder as my mental body, so I can take that in. But yeah, so if you guys want to just use one body graph, you want to use two, you want to use all three, that's up to you. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to like maybe digest this a little bit before I start the series. Also, there's a lot going on in my life right now that I have to take care of. But this is coming from my heart. Something that I want to say from my heart is that there's some talk or comments going on in the human design community right now about the 3 body graphs that really makes my heart feel heavy a little bit, shall I say, because when I first saw that it was possible to have various different body graphs, my first reaction was, this is good. This is opening up our minds and opening up our horizons to explore and experiment. But that is not the reaction for a lot of people in the community. And that makes my heart sink, that there are ideas being thrown out there that we are now giving the permission to use words against other people that's not very nice. And words, hurtful words, is the start of conflict. Conflict doesn't start from, I disagree with you, and you have a different idea about something. Conflict starts from when you have a different idea from somebody, but you use your words in a way that attacks the other. I feel that, like we talked about in this video, like we are so much more than even these 3 body graphs together, right? When you put the various gene keys, human design, astrology combinations together, we have like millions and trillions of possible body graphs that are generated out there. And to say that you have just 3 of those trillion, it still makes you unique. And to say, oh, but I just want 1 of those 3, it's just having 3 out of trillions and millions of possibilities is already a unique you in this material world, in this body here. But again, that's not the whole of you. Because you are the mysterious being that you are. You are the beautiful, mysterious being that you are. So yes, I mean, this, and I feel that when something like this comes up, that I want to give you guys the power. The power should be given to the majority of the people who have an opportunity to experiment. And I feel that to come out and to say that if I were a professional human design reader, to say that because I am a professional human design reader, that I know more about this than you would know it, wouldn't that defeat the purpose of human design? Human design is for the human experience to be experimented and experienced. Astrology has been around for about 2,000 years. Human design has been developed less than 50 years ago. The system is still developing. There's a lot of room for it to have the collective shift and mutated a little bit here and there, and that's the beauty of it. Just like astrology, it has been evolving, mutating, growing over the years, over the 2,000 years that it's been around. I feel that, like I said in my last video, let's do this together. Let's experiment together and explore together and keep an open mind. And that's all. Okay, sending everybody so much love out there. And have a beautiful day, beautiful souls. Bye.